Yeah, because if this is the first session of the fall Marietta class, and just I did that to tag the recording in case people are joining in, and later. But if you can't make these sessions, I make myself available at 1 o'clock every Tuesday for the next 6 weeks for this, and I will answer any questions that you might have as we go through the class. But also, if you don't have specific questions, I do try and look at the sections that I think you should have already completed and then hit the parts that I find students find difficult. So you don't have to come up with your own problems or your own questions or admit that you don't understand something if that makes you nervous. But we'll touch on them. And I also, in the notice that I sent out to you, I have links to previously recorded sessions that are going over the same kind of material. So you can jump ahead if you want to. You can use those as resources. That's just all there. And then on top of that is during the week as you're working on this stuff, if you have a question, just send me an email. And you don't have to wait until the next Tuesday. Email is the best way to get a hold of me, and you know, I'll address that as well. So lots of opportunities. So at this point, hopefully you've both received and been able to log into the program. Is that the case? You're
Yeah.
both in there? Good.
Mhm.
Did you run into any issues, any problems on that? Is and what I will say there is I'm in the middle of transitioning the online course, and I was hoping it would be done. It's 90% done at this point. It's being updated to match the new textbook. So you should have the new textbook, and this was something else I had in my notes that I wanted to do. Let me grab a paper because I know that Marianne, I don't have your mailing address. So I need to mail you a copy of the textbook. So if you could send me an email with your mailing address, that would be good. Hopefully, you received a link to the PDF version of the textbook. If you did not, I think, Marianne, I'm not sure if I sent you the instructions for logging in or not. That would have the link as well. The system's supposed to automatically give you a link for the textbook. So we'll get you a link for the PDF textbook, but we'll also give you a physical paper copy of the textbook. And the same, Joe, have you received the paper copy of the textbook?
Yeah, yeah, I've been
Okay,
using it. Yeah.
good. All right. Yeah, I find the paper is always better. I mean, I like it better for
Yeah.
studying, making notes in the margin, and it's just, plus you don't have
Mhm.
to worry about your
Sorry.
system crashing. So,
Sorry, you called me Marianne and I didn't register that that was me. But um
oh, oh, did I thought you said to call you. Oh, Rose. Oh,
no, Rosemary.
Rosemary. I said
Yeah.
Mary, Rosemary. Yeah, Rosemary.
No,
If you could send me an email with your mailing address,
yeah, that
um,
sounds good.
that would be great. Um, so then we'll get you a physical copy of that plus a PDF. Now, I have seen in the past, and this is one of the things we're addressing in the new version of the online. Sometimes certain browsers at certain times have problems where when you transfer from one slide to the other, the audio doesn't play. But if you back up and go again, it starts playing. So if you are experiencing any audio problems, you can try a different browser, or you can just back up and go forward again, and it'll fix itself. So that's the downside there. The online program tracks with the eighth edition of the textbook, so you might see a little disconnect in structure, but the content is there. We're going to expand it a little bit with the ninth edition, but everything in the certification exam is in there, because the certification exam at the moment is based on the eighth edition of the textbook. So anyway, you've got everything you need plus some with the ninth edition. I guess I only mentioned that because sometime during this next 6 weeks, I might make the ninth edition online course live. If so, you'll have access to both of them. So So anyway, it might be a little confusing because you're in a transition phase here. Okay, so the note that I sent you today is telling you what I think should be the structure. Like in the first week, you should have this many chapters done. In the second week, you should have that many chapters done. Obviously, you're adults. You can do it however you wish. You can get ahead. You can, wait until the last minute, although I wouldn't recommend that. But that's the way I got through college. So what the heck? And so then when we do the weekly sessions, we'll review those. Um, the We'll get together, and let me just double check the dates here. We'll get together on here in Marietta, Ohio, and it will be on November 22nd and 23rd, which is a Saturday and a Sunday. And then I know Michael has sent me a note saying, is somebody coming from Columbus that you could maybe hitch a ride with to get from Columbus down here to Marietta? So I know, Joe, are you located here in Ohio?
No, I'm in Washington State.
Oh, in Washington State. So you're going to be
Yeah,
flying into Columbus as well
I'm
for
not
the Mar.
sure. I'm not sure my wife made all the arrangements.
Yeah, you probably are. That's the closest airport. So, um,
Just about, are we going to Detroit?
We're gonna drive to Ohio.
Yeah, we're flying into Detroit. We have some other issues in Detroit, and then we're driving from Detroit.
okay. All right. So, I mean, you'll even from Detroit, you'll probably go through Columbus.
Yeah,
Get
probably.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so Rosemary, we'll try and see if we can coordinate that because, like I said, there are 5 or 6 other people who are all coming in as well, and we'll see if maybe your time schedule. So maybe the best thing to do would be to look at the your flights so we can get a rough idea of time. Columbus is about 2 hours, I would say, driving from here. So
Mhm.
bear that in mind. There is a bus called the One Bus, I think it is, that goes from the airport to downtown Marietta, and Marietta is to a place that's easily walkable, from there to here, and walkable to the various hotels that are right downtown. So we're located almost downtown Marietta. And when I say downtown, Marietta is 13,000 people. So we're not talking huge. But it's a very pleasant little city. About 26 miles of walking trails, bike trails, sits at the confluence of the Ohio and the Muskingum River. Nice old Victorian town. So I would recommend, and I'll send you guys some recommendations of hotels. Here we have out on the strip area, the commercial that's not right downtown, all of the normal Motel 6 or Comfort Inns or those kind of things, if that's what you're into. But downtown, there are a couple of really nice old Victorian type hotels. There's the Lafayette Hotel, which sits right there on the river, that was built in, the 1800s. And there's another cute hotel. I don't remember the Hackett. The Hackett is another sweet little hotel. And those are all easily walkable. So I guess I'm talking to you, Rosemary, primarily saying if you don't want a car, there is the option of riding the bus down here and then just walking to everywhere you need to go without having to worry about a car. So having just visited Europe, I know the value of that. Although the parking situation is not as bad as it was in England, at least here in Marietta. Okay, so the plan is once we get together on the weekend of the 22nd, 23rd, the first day we'll start at about 8 o'clock in the morning. So I would suggest coming in the night before for sure. I wouldn't try and time it where your flight comes in that morning. And if you want to come in a day early, I mean, Marietta is a nice place to hang out and see the sights. So there's plenty to do. And especially if you're coming, well, Washington State, you guys are already dealing with stuff in Detroit, but you know, I was going to say jet lag a little bit, just the travel
Yeah.
and all that. It's nice to just sort of settle in. So if your time constraints aren't there, come in a day early. Plus, with air traffic control and everything, you never know at this moment. Hopefully, that'll be settled by then, but who knows? And so we'll start at 8 in the morning. We'll do labs all day long. So you don't need to bring anything except your attention and wear comfortable clothing. Nobody's impressed by you dressing up. And we'll do the physical, the hands-on labs. It'll take all day long. We'll be done 4:30 or 5 o'clock. And then Sunday, the second day, we'll start at 8 in the morning. We'll spend about 4 hours doing a review of everything that you've studied. Then we'll break for lunch, and then we'll take the exam. So you have 2 hours to take the examination. The exam is 75 questions, multiple choice. They're very similar to the questions that are in the back of each of the chapters of the textbook. They're in that same kind of format. Obviously, the subject matter is similar. The questions will not be exactly the same, obviously, but they'll be similar in nature. So if, a lot of people ask me what's the best way to practice for the exam, and I would say just do the questions at the end of the chapters. That's the best way. If you're comfortable there, you'll do fine on the test. And this is a certification that is recognized really all over the world, but primarily here in North America. ETA is an organization with members, I think, in 88 countries. It's been around since the 1970s, has about 80,000 members. And I sit on the board of directors of ETA. I'm the chairman of their renewable energy committee. So we're in the process of updating the examination, and the exam and the book, the 9th edition, will be harmonized probably in January. So that's why we're again in a transition where the test and the online and the textbook will all be in harmony in January. But at the moment, the book is leading. The book is ahead of the curve a little bit. To pass the certification, you have to have done 3 things. One is complete 40 hours of training that is approved by ETA. So the online course meets that requirement. The second is to complete all of the hands-on tasks that are required by ETA. Those are all incorporated in the hands-on that we'll do here in Marietta. And then you have to pass the certification exam. So those are the 3 things. To pass the certification exam, you need to get a 75%, which 75% of 75 questions means you can miss 18 questions. I think, if you do not pass on the first go round, you can retake it again. You have to wait 30 days. Then you can resit for the exam. I know you guys are not physically located close to here, so you wouldn't come back to me to take the test, but you can do this online. There's a company called Exam Room AI that you can arrange to retake the exam through, and you can do it on your own laptop. They'll monitor you as you're taking the exam, or you can go to any testing center pretty much anywhere and log into the ETA process, and ETA can help you with that. But you guys are going to pass the first try, so that's not an issue. So, and I'm just trying to think of the normal questions. Do you guys have any questions that pop into your mind as we're jumping through this? No, Rosemary, do you have any questions on that? So let me check with you to see. I think Joe, we talked or exchanged emails a little bit before, but the motivation, I just wanted to know your motivation so I can tailor things to you as to why you're going through the course. Are you thinking, Joe, you're going to install in your own home, or you just are interested in solar?
I'd like to build a big solar carport or shop, if you will,
Okay.
standalone. And so, and I want to, in order to do that, I have to be certified to work with the power company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, well that's good. And we can try and as part of this class, if you want to, if you know what your load demands are, we can try and design some of that as we're doing some of our sample questions.
Yeah, I've
So,
got our PUD sends us out each statement got the whole year uh, usage on it. So
oh, okay. So you're wanting to design it to meet the loads of your home, not just your shop.
that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But it would be as part of a separate building or a carport.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. So we'll get, if you want to send me a copy of your electric bill, we could get a start on that when, because we do a lot of problems where we're working through the problems and I just oftentimes just make up data. But if I've got real data, we may as well design something in the real world versus me just throwing numbers out there. So,
Yeah, I've got a guest house, a guest house and let's say a well house. So I've got three separate panels and a remote meter. So this I would be building it next to one of those.
okay. Yeah, and we can see what issues would be. But when we do remote site assessment, we can use your home. We can go in, look at it from Google Earth, decide where the array should be placed, where the meters are,
Sure.
and kind of do a full site assessment as we're doing it. So that's one of the advantages of these sessions as well, because if you say, I'd like to see how do you do a remote site assessment, we can just pull up that program. I can share my screen and we can just walk through it and do it here. So,
Sure.
all right. Rosemarie, what's your motivation? Did Michael tell you you had to do it and you said yeah, or is this something that you want to make a career?
Not a career maybe, but I would love to help out my dad with his solar business stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he keeps sending me drawings from Costa Rica that are he's getting more advanced than I am, so I have to like tell him, yeah, I don't know what you're doing. Just do it. It looks good. you know. So, yeah, he's a full-fledged engineer. I'm just a solar hack. So, that's
He's
that's
also a
good.
solar hack. He does not have an engineering degree.
Well, he can fool. He can fool us. So, and okay, so are you thinking you might move to Costa Rica at some point, or you just go down and visit sometimes?
Who knows? We'll see.
We'll see how the government works out over the next couple of years, right? So, yeah, my wife and I used to go down to Costa Rica quite often, and we really enjoyed it. We thought about actually moving down into that area at one point, but I don't know. It's one thing to fantasize about it while you're on vacation. It's another to just do it. So
My dad would say you should just.
yeah, just do it. Well, it's like everything else. We lived for a year. We lived a couple of years near Paris and we lived for a year over in England. And I enjoyed both of those experiences. But the longer you're at a place, then there's downsides sides everywhere. So you just go, yeah. I mean, I really loved England, but the nanny state would eventually get under my skin. Like you need a permit to blow your nose. It's like everything is over regulated and that gives you a sense of security, a sense of safety, but it also just really can be smothering. So um, I'd rather go build a house out of tires without having to ask anybody. So that Costa Rica is probably more like that. Just flip
For
somebody
sure,
20,
yeah.
$20 and you can do whatever you want. So,
Yeah.
all right. So you're thinking you're not going to make it your career. You're not going to install it in your own home. It's just expansion of your knowledge. Okay, great. That's good. Okay, so any other questions about our process here? Because this session is really just organizational. So I don't want to go into depth because you might not have even got started on the online course. I know you just signed up yesterday. So Um, but then next week at this time, we'll jump into the first couple of chapters. I think it's 1 through 3, something like that. Um, and really what you'll find is in the early chapters, it's very foundational. I think it's very easy. And you may actually, by the time you get through chapter 4, you're going to be going, really? This is kind of elementary. And then you start getting into chapter 5 and it gets a little more complicated. By the time you're in chapter 7, you're sort of going, whoa, this is getting a little bit too much, or whatever. I need to look at that again. So it does get, I would just say that I don't think any part of what we're going to do is hard. It's just at some point it's a lot and you're absorbing a lot of stuff in a fairly short period of time. It's a little bit like learning a new language. There are different terminologies for everything. There's different things that you have to just remember. And I always say even the dumbest French guy can speak French. So you can learn it, it's just that it's a lot to absorb in a fairly short period of time, So all right, so any questions before we call it a day here? We're good? Okay, so I'll
I
see
think
you
that's
next week. We'll see you next week. And if you have any questions in the meantime, just send me an email. But we'll be here at 1 o'clock next week. All right.
good.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye bye.